I truly believe that the day I'm inaugurated, not only does the country look at itself differently, but the world looks at America differently.
Well, that was candidate Obama on the campaign trail in 2007. But today, a new poll suggests the country is looking at itself very differently, though perhaps not in the way that he anticipated. The Pew Research Center is reporting that a majority, 53%, say the U.S. is globally less important and less powerful than it was 10 years ago. These are the worst numbers this poll has ever recorded in its 40-year history of asking this question. For comparison, when Pew asked this question back in 2004, when President George W. Bush was in office, only 20% felt that the U.S. was less powerful than a decade earlier. Wow. Joining me now, Alan Colmes. He's host of the Alan Colmes Radio Show and a Fox News contributor. And Mike Gallagher is the host of the Mike Gallagher Radio Show and a Fox News contributor. Well, a Fox News employee.
Hey, Megan.
So what do you make of that? Because that's pretty dramatic now, Mike.
Is it any wonder? I mean, let's look at the short list. Benghazi, Syria, the president's disgraceful treatment of the prime minister of Israel. There's a malaise. The American people are less confident in this country than ever before. I think inherent in these poll numbers is probably a decline of patriotism. It's hard to feel patriotic when we have such a shaky world standing right now. I mean, listen, I gave credit where credit is due. The president deserved credit for getting Osama bin Laden. It happened under his watch. That's it. That's the pros list. Under the cons list, it goes on and on and on. And so it's inevitable.
Well, first of all, 53% starting in 2004, which means the first 4 years of this poll reflect the number started going down in 2004. 53% is twice what the number was in 2004. So that started during the Bush administration.
Oh.
Secondly, if you look at all the things Obama has done.
The views of U.S. global power have fallen to a 40-year low.
Yeah, this is a survey of Americans, by the way, this Pew survey. If you want to find out how we're regarded around the world, ask people around the world. Don't ask Americans. This is Americans.
Don't we care? Do we care about how Americans view the country?
If you're asking Americans how we're regarded around the world, that question should be asked for people around the world to see how we're regarded.
But shouldn't Americans be confident in America?
Because we start wars we shouldn't have started. Because you have people getting up and saying you lied to the president. Because we have people going around and hitting the president.
Wait. You're telling me that the reason the perception of our global power has fallen to a 40-year low is because somebody stood up at the State of the Union address and yelled, "You lied to the president 5 years ago."
This is the same party that shut the government down.
Is that actually your theory?
This is part of a narrative. You've got a Republican Party that shuts out the government when it doesn't get what it wants. We look like fools to the rest of the country when we do stuff like that.
Here's the narrative.
Go ahead,
Here's the narrative. Blame Bush. Blame George Bush for everything. That's all.
I wasn't talking about Bush.
Well,
he didn't shut down the government.
You said it started.
He didn't shut down the government.
You said it started under George W. Bush because that's the liberal talking point.
That's when the poll started.
But come on,
2004 is when the poll started.
You can't dispute that Americans have lost confidence in our world standing. And again, when you see the flip-flop on Syria, when you see the total abdication.
Well, you wanted war? We should go to war in Syria? We averted war.
Hold on. I'll give you the floor in a second. Go ahead.
Leadership. It's a lack of leadership, and the American people aren't stupid. We understand it. And there's no confidence in our ability to lead the world like we used to. Listen, the president said he was going to transform America, and this poll proves it. He is.
This question was whether or not we are considered to be important around the world. And as Americans weighing in on what the rest of the world thinks. If you want to know what the rest of the world thinks, ask the rest of the world.
Well, there was another question about compared to the past, would you say the U.S. is more respected by other countries these days, less respected, or as respected? Only 7% believe we are more respected. 70% say we are less respected in the world.
And by the way, that was the same number that George W. Bush had in 2004.
Alan.
That is the same number George W. Bush had in his second term.
Is that your goal?
70%.
Is that your goal for President Obama to do as well as President Bush? Is that your goal?
The point is that 70%.
But answer my question. Is that your goal?
The goal is to be better. But don't. If you're going to compare apples, let's compare it to apples. That's the same number Bush had in 2004.
If the goal is to be better, Alan, then we're going in the opposite direction.
But I didn't hear critical when it was 70% under the Bush administration.
At some point, you guys have to stop blaming
Where was the criticism? But
7 years into Obama, 8 years into Obama, when will you guys stop blaming George W. Bush?
Because the same numbers were for Bush and you didn't say a word.
No, they weren't the same.
It's not going to get resolved here tonight.
The Pew study says that. 70%.
There's some cookies in the green room and some delicious macaroons. You guys.
I'm going to give him some cookies.
Put that fist down.
Have at it. We'll pick it up another time. Coming up, a wave of hate crimes put a small liberal arts college on edge. Why we are now learning it might not be what it seems. And a woman takes a selfie in front of a would-be suicide. Our panel has a lot of thoughts on this, but we want to know what you think. Go to facebook.com/The Kelly File, leave a page, like our page, and leave a comment. Don't forget, Bill Burton is coming up live. This is going to be interesting on the healthcare law. And also, follow me on Twitter, @Megyn Kelly. Let me know what you think. Should we really be tolerating selfies in front of things like suicide attempts? Stay with us.